favorite one?
Well, yeah, my favorite one is really the one I do, Definitive. So we have a lot of friends, and I think the music community, we all release with each other, remix for each other. But then for the people who've been doing it longer, you have your own label. So that's really like your family. So your own label is always the most special.
What is your opinion about digital mixing and producing? Do you think earning money was more comfortable in the past?
That's a good question. I don't think anyone's ever asked it that way, but everyone says how, well, it's funny. I think the old people say how in the past it was easier. But in the past, there was only a few people who were having success. I mean, less people. So for the old people, now there's young people and it's more complicated. It's more difficult. But I'm an old guy and I enjoy the new situation. I enjoy the digital generation that we have now. I think with software and just the whole digital revolution in the last 10 years, it is more easy to make music. So I think even though it's easy, I think people still have to have a responsibility to do a good job. So some people, push a button and say they're a DJ. I think you need to learn a lot about your culture, but I'm happy that more people are able to make electronic music. A long time ago, old people would dream of buying a guitar and making a band and playing in a bar with a band, drums, guitar. But now with the digital generation, it's about buying software and making electronic music and playing at a party, in a small party, in a industrial building in Berlin on a Monday, or on the weekend at a big club or a festival. So I think this is really good for the young people. So it was easier for the successful people a long time ago, but now it's good for everyone.
Okay, in this way we would like to thank Alexandra from Belgrade to organize that here.
Yes. A big hello to Alex, wish you were here, and thanks for organizing, introducing me to your friends in Berlin, and having set up a nice day.
Thank you. How many weeks a year are you on tour?
The last 2 years I've slowed down because I love touring, but I also need to find a balance with my private life and my friends. So I'm probably on tour 60% of the time. But for 20 years I was on tour making 120 parties a year, which is intense.
That's right. You are a very famous house and DJ producer. How has these changes affected to your life?
That's a good question too. I'm still the same. I think I'm still the same person I was, but I think maybe one of the best things, I can go to a restaurant and whatever food I want, I never have to worry about the price. So I can eat what I want at a restaurant and drink what I want. That's okay.
That's fine.
It's the reward for success.
That's true. What do you see in the future? Your label, goals, wishes, appreciations?
Well, if you asked me this question 10 years ago, what do I see in the future? I would say that the future would be more digital, and people used to think I was crazy. So I would kind of answer the same. I think the future is more digital. I think we're going to find new ways to make music, to live, to just, digital things will permeate our culture. So the future will be digital, and now it sounds like an easy answer.
Berlin, how many times did you visit our great city? More than 100 times?
Let's do the math. I probably come on average 4 or 5 times a year. I've been coming for 20 years. Yeah, about 100 times or more.
Will there be in the future more projects with Richie Hawtin again?
That's a good question too. People always ask what our relationship is, and our relationship is wonderful. It's actually when we stopped the label officially, because all we did was one thing together 10 years ago. And when we stopped doing the label together, people thought we stopped. But in the last 10 years, we've done more things than ever. And most of it's private, because musically we have our own labels. It's sort of like our own family, and then we have our own artists, and our artists are like our children. So we, in public, seem to be apart, but we do a lot of projects. The first project was Final Scratch. He was involved in Beatport. So we work closely on some things, then we do something separately. So that's kind of cool, and in fact I brought some guests. One of the recent projects, you know, we're always busy, but last year I get a phone call from Richie, and he's like, "Hey John, I'm preparing my Plastic Man live show, and I just wanted to tell you a couple things." And he was explaining to me what was going on. He had an army of people, of course, working on the show, and it was a brilliant show. If anyone, not if anyone, a lot of people have seen it. If you haven't seen it, you got to see it. It was a brilliant show, and he really had an army of people, and he did some really cutting-edge stuff with wireless technology, using iPads when they first came out. And so I brought a couple of our friends and partners. We came together. Richie's like, "John, I'm busy, I need help, let's do another project." And he actually was talking to a couple people that I knew already. So I've got Gareth, who I've known for a good, 5-6 years. I keep seeing him because he's also a technology guy, and another friend of ours who's not here, Nick, and then Etienne, who I met just last year. So we got together to do this. First project was Grid, helping Richie get his live show together. But I brought them along. Well, we'll talk more. I think what we're going to do is maybe do a little DJ set with an iPad when we were talking about the future. This is kind of cool. So we're going to maybe segue this interview into a new. You know what? I think I'm just going to take over the show for 10-15 minutes. Even though I can't, I'm going to be a rude guest. I'm just taking over. I'm going to be a digital terrorist, and I'm going to do what I want for 15 minutes. So I'm not going to answer any more questions. I'm sorry. I quit. And so anyways, yeah. So Richie calls me last year, and he's like, "John, you got to see what's going on. I'm doing this live show." I'm like, "Oh, Richie, you're always full of crazy projects, but always good ones, of course." So I'm like, I know half of these people, So anyways, Gareth, who I've known forever, got together with a couple of his friends. Nick, we have Etienne here, in the red shirt and the cool grid shirt, and so when anyone saw Richie doing, there's a whole bunch of YouTube things of him doing his show live. He was doing some parts of it on the iPad, and the core of that was with some of the stuff these guys have designed. In the past year, they've gone on to design a thing called Remix. So I'm very happy as an artist to have my own Remix application. But the first Remix application was Plastic Man. So we're going to start. I'm going to introduce you guys to Gareth. Gareth, hello.
Hey John, how are you?
Welcome to Berlin. Well, he lives here, so it's not a welcome to Berlin. I'm the tourist. And he's going to do a little, I was thinking I was going to go like this, but I can't talk to the application. But on iTunes, Richie was the very first person, and he's often the first person to do things, to have a Remix app. It's available on iTunes. And so what Gareth has done, and maybe I'll let him talk later, but right now I'm hijacking the show, so it's my show right now, so I'm not going to let you talk. For 10 minutes of fame, 15 minutes of fame. So we've got 4 channels with a whole bunch of parts. So a lot of people are going to recognize, if you're fans of Richie Hawtin, some Plastic Man tracks. So Gareth is just kind of ad-lib. Give him 4 or 5 minutes, and then I'll interview Gareth a little bit, and then we're going to play mine. I'm going to let Gareth DJ my music, and this is kind of cool because when we're talking about, is it too easy for people to DJ? I think it's cool that people get to play with other people's music and mix and match, because that's our community, sharing. And so Gareth, it's your turn to mix. Everyone, welcome Gareth, Mr. Remixing Plastic Man. Richie's not here. We're going to be hanging out in Barcelona for Sonar, but since he's not here, there we go.